Kentucky Derby.
Now they move around the turn. The leader, War Admiral, 2.5 for green.
That's what it is in the center of the racetrack. The Admiral sloop drawing alongside again.
War Emblem is still there. War Emblem is pulling away. He's got another gear. Yeah, the Swiss thing coming the Derby. Wheel away takes command. Lionheart is all heart. Smarty Jones is all out. And here is the first undefeated winner of the Kentucky Derby since Seattle's Slow of 1976.
Good morning from Churchill Downs. Opening night is in the books. The spring 2025 meet got its kickstart last night. Late into the night, the horsemen, all the people on the backside are back early, getting these horses ready to hit the tracks. And it's the morning work show, Sunday, April 27th. We've got a full slate of Derby horses ready to put in their final drill ahead of the 151st Kentucky Derby. A little bit chilly outside, but a beautiful morning. The track is fast. We've got headlines to go through. Let's talk shop Burnham Square. That Ian Wilkes trainee sizzles in that final breeze yesterday. Several Derby workers are expected this morning, including the likes of Journalism, Rodriguez, Sovereignty, who are going to take a lot of money in that market. Good Cheer draws post 11. That gets that strong 6-5 morning line favoritism from Mike Battaglia. I like that aggressive spotting. I think she'll be right around there in the Kentucky Oaks. The morning line favorite for the Kentucky Derby is Journalism, made 3-1, draws post 8, possibly the perfect draw for Mike McCarthy's runner. Baeza still on the outside looking in that 21st spot, but on the grounds here at Churchill Downs. To Pan Street, out with the injury coming out of his breeze yesterday. Render Judgment draws in. We were wondering about that one, and Render Judgment will run for Kenny McPeak as he looks for his second one. We've got some footage of Tapan Street yesterday. Will not run in that Kentucky Derby. Watched him at the end of his drill yesterday. He looked great finishing up, came off the track, and a little bit of a seismoid injury. So Tappan Street is out, Tapan Street is out, but Tony Kalo is in. He's doing good. No injuries last night for you. You went up to the booth, you called some races. You did fantastic, my man. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, Kev. Thank you very much.
Yeah, what about the windows? You treated them gingerly yesterday. What do you think?
Yeah, I didn't step up, saving the bullets for the Derby week, that's for sure.
Yeah, you gotta know when you want to take your swings and when you don't. I lost money last night, but that's okay. We've got more opportunities coming forward.
Money back special.
Money back special helped me from Twin Spires. You know, the draw is such an important thing. If we think back to the Kentucky Oaks that one of my favorite jockeys, Rosie Napravnik, won. She drew the 14 spot with Untappable. Rosie, what do you think? Is that outside spot a tough spot to work out a good trip? We saw Quiet Side draw the 14 yesterday.
Yeah, I actually love the outside post for Quiet Side. Similar to, I think we were number 13, but ended up all the way on the outside with Untappable and got a great trip. You know, when you're confident in your horse and you have one of the best horses in the field, you sometimes have to take advantage of that outside trip. There's so much speed in the Kentucky Oaks that I think, you know, it could set Quiet Side up for a really nice trip. But out here this morning, it is like super crisp air. I'm all bundled up. My eyes are watering, but could not have better weather for the horses and a better track this morning. We're super excited to see some of these real buzz horses breeze this morning. And the ones you mentioned, Journalism, Sovereignty, Rodriguez, are all horses that I've really been looking forward to making their move. So we'll see what Megan's got on the backside.
Well, Rosie, I'm twinning with you this morning on as far as the turtleneck's concerned. And guys, you might see a late jockey change. With Rosie, might hit the saunas and come back to the races to get on this Kentucky Derby contender Quiet Side. All jokes aside, with very, very exciting morning here on the backside. It's very crisp, but the conditions are picture perfect. And we will see the newly installed morning line favorite in the number 8 Journalism take to the track for his final drill. The Connections wanted to play it on the safe side, and it certainly rewarded them as far as the conditions are concerned this morning. But not to mention just him, we've got the Asmussen duo in Tistastic and Publisher who will go solo this morning, as well as a horse by the name of Sovereignty and East Avenue that you might want to pay attention to, also putting in their final drills for Team Godolphin. But No shortage of action, guys. It is very busy here on what was supposed to be kind of a slower Sunday, but it's definitely anything but that.
Thank you, Meg. Yeah, we had a little moisture in the track yesterday, and it pushed some of the works to today from some of these runners. So a lot to look forward to. We saw it yesterday with the draw. We had you up in the booth as Travis Stone came down to lead the celebration here, but it was a great night. Great to see all these horses finally figure out where they will be breaking from. Tony, Kayla, what do you think? Winners, losers from this draw yesterday? Whose spot would you like to be in if you were the connections behind these horses?
Obviously, the favorite journalism drew perfectly. No excuses breaking from post position 8. A lot of speed lined up to the inside. Citizen Bull showing speed from the rail. Neo Equus was also going to be forward. Rodriguez, American Promise, Admire, Daytona. You see Owen Almighty all the way to the outside on the next page, and you also see East Avenue. And I think he's the one that benefits the most from the draw. I love the trip he got in the Risen Star. I did not like the finish. Obviously, he didn't see it through. But this is what I've been wanting this horse to be able to get. This is what I've wanted him to get for the Kentucky Derby. A convenient outside stalking trip and finish the race with interest. His best races have been in Kentucky. I'm getting a little more excited about him. At least I think he has a puncher's chance with this draw.
Yeah, we've got on the AE list Baeza, who is on the track yesterday and looking good. And I know a lot of punters out there want to see him draw in so they can take a swing with that John Sheriff's training. All right, we've got interviews. We caught up with a few of the trainers to see their thoughts and hear their thoughts about the draw yesterday.
Well, I'm joined here by one of my favorite people in trainer, John Ortiz, trainer of leading Kentucky Oaks contender, Quiet Side. And John, we mused yesterday in front of her stall. She's not a Ferrari, she's a McLaren. And as we get closer to the Kentucky Oaks, you had kept her at your Keeneland base, and she's been breezing since then. What has she shown you in those 2 breezes?
You know, she came out of her race in the fantasy really well, in really great shape. We gave her some time between her race and the workouts, and it looked like it really paid off. Her first work back, the week before that, we gave her a 2-mile, 2-minute leg gallop, and she did it with such ease that we decided to go ahead and breeze her 5 furlongs 2 weeks out, and she did it in a good 59 drill. And then last week, just on Friday, she did a 48 in hands and galloped out in a minute.
Well, you mused that the fantasy was kind of where you were holding your breath, and now you're just having fun leading her over to Louisville. What has she shown you, and what have you learned from her throughout her prep season at Oaklawn?
You know, we all had to learn from her, and she had to learn a lot still. So we were just kind of growing into all these preps together. She did improve from each start and her workouts, but we really got it together once we realized that she's a better if we work her a little quicker in the mornings, and we finally let her stretch her legs out. She understood that she had an ability, so she took us for the next 2 rides.
Well, post positions were announced yesterday. She did draw the outside 14, but what were your impressions of that and the path forward as far as her trip from the outside?
You know, initially everybody thinks the inside's really bad and the outside's really bad. But you know what? I think this is not a big deal for her. She's been thrown so many challenges in through her career so far, you know, on the inside, closed encounter trips. She's been in traffic. She's battle tested. And I think having an outside post, she's going to keep her in the clear, let all the speed on the inside set up, and hopefully we get a good position going into the first turn and we don't get caught too wide. That's obviously is going to be our biggest factor.
Well, it's so special. Your family is very much rooted in your business. How satisfying is it to be able to contend on these big days with them alongside you?
You know, it's really crazy. Obviously, we're, having my cousin be a competitor in this race is unbelievable. It's just literally our dreams as kids. We used to play Gallop Racer, on the PlayStation growing up, and now we're actually competing in the Oaks together. It's just the way it's supposed to be. It's the way it should be written. But involved also is my dad and my brother, who's just been by my side, big supporters. And this is not just a race. It's more of a trying to defend the legend of the legacy of my dad.
Well, John, it's always a privilege to be able to catch up with you. Best of luck come Friday. And folks, you will not be seeing this filly's quiet side as she battles to give Team Ortiz their very first Kentucky Oaks victory on Friday.
Yeah, great to have John Ortiz join us. Great interview there by Meg. He's a class act. Always love to hear what he has to say. He's got a really strong filly. Tony, you were making a case that maybe she can find her spot. She doesn't necessarily need to press and get caught wide.
Yeah, I like it. As John mentioned, she can avoid traffic. She can avoid kickback. The big question is how much ground will she lose getting to that first turn? So that's the key. If she can work out a nice, cozy outside trip, she should be all right. Yeah. I like the fact John brought up Gallop Racer. I was a big fan of Gallop Racer. For a big man, I had a heck of a clock. I just didn't get a lot of mounts, my weight. They didn't want to put me on. But
I needed a better agent, that's all.
I needed a better agent.
I could have gotten you some.
Gallop Racer, though. Everybody loves Gallop Racer.
All right, so Brian Hernandez Jr. won Kentucky Derby 150. I think he's got a very live mount. It might be a similar sort of price with Burnham Square. Here's one that I've been watching very closely in the morning. I thought we moved forward to win that Bluegrass last out. What are we seeing from the Ian Wilkes trainee, Tony?
He's doing everything perfectly. I like the enthusiasm. He seems to be eager, wanting to do it. He's into his works early, and I've noticed since he's got into Kentucky that his times have really improved quite a bit. And you can tell, we've seen the video coverage, and he's been awesome.
He's been awesome. He's been moving very sharp. We've got Rosie on the fourth floor who was able to watch this one live yesterday. Rosie, I know you were talking yesterday how Brian really kept this one close to the rail. Seems like they're trying to get a lot from this work, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can tell from Brian checking his watch frequently throughout the work. They were definitely intentional in how they wanted this breeze to go. But Burnham Square, for a horse that comes off the pace, was quite aggressive, going to the pole down the backside. He had his head real low, kind of tugging on Brian. But, you can see in this video the relationship between the horse and the rider is very harmonious. He did keep him sort of down toward the inside of the rail. You kind of almost can snag a little bit of that sealed tract, which is a little firmer underneath when you're really close to the rail. But they were, very specific. What a nice move. Pretty quick, and he just looked great doing it, striding out so well. I know a lot of people have been talking about this horse after this breeze.
Yeah, big breeze. You've been kicking down the stall in the mornings. Tons of energy after that win. This is what I like to see. I think he's got every right to move forward. We got Ian Wilkes and Brian Hernandez Jr. giving their thoughts about this move yesterday.
I feel good. It was a nice work for him. 59-2 is well in hand. Galloped out strong. And he wanted to do more than what he did. Come off the track and didn't take a deep breath. So that was a good thing. And the key is I can't get to the bottom of him. Just let him float into the race. We got a week here. Probably school in the gates again. Just the little things. Just iron out the little things, and we'll be ready.
I talked with Ian about it before the work, and he wanted him off in 12 and a little change, in which he did, and then just let him pick it up as he went along. And then he actually surprised me how much he picked it up from the 8th pole to the wire. He was like 11-1, and he had a really good 1/8 of a mile gallop out after that, and it just seems like all systems are a go. Ian said coming out of the Bluegrass, he was a little quartered up, and he kind of needed that race, so he looked like he got the right kind of race out of him in the Bluegrass, and now we're 3 weeks later, here we are ready for Derby. I worked him last week, and he was a little aggressive getting to the pole, which surprised me. But then this week we took him with the pony, and he settled into a nice rhythm. And the nice thing about him, he just seems like the type of horse that the further he goes, the better he is. He's not the flashiest looking little horse. He's a little on the small side, but the way he moves, he's so effortlessly with the way his stride and the way he moves.
Yeah, Burnham Square finishing up with good energy. Haven't gotten to the bottom of them. Small horse, they call him Mighty Mouse around the track. That's his new nickname that's coming out. Final Gambit, one of the two grays who are in the field. Tony, I brought my little Mighty Mice to the track yesterday, Sal and Louie, my little fellas, and we were sitting in the track kitchen watching the works, watching them finish up, and nobody has gone further in the gallop out that I've seen than Final Gambit, way past the track kitchen. I thought that was a big move yesterday. Everything you want to see from Brad Cox's lone runner now in the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, he seems to be getting better and better all the time. He was very impressive in his maiden victory. I was like, wow, that was an unbelievable stretch run when he just rolled from 11 lengths out, turning into the lane. Similar move in the Jeff Ruby Stakes. I'll tell you what, he benefits from the post position draw. He's a bona fide late runner. He has an inside post. He's surrounded by speed. All he has to do is just break in good order. Luan takes a nice hold. He gets to save ground throughout the whole backside, and then he swings into scene through the far turn. He benefits greatly with that inside draw. It's perfect for his running style.
I love that. Yeah, the space does vacate. He can just get there and sort of slot himself where he wants to. Rosie, you were watching this one yesterday, moving in company to the outside. You know, I talked about his energy late. What are you seeing through him down the stretch here?
Yeah, you know, setting him up outside the other horse just to give him something to run with as a closer, that's not an uncommon thing to see. But you can see he was well within himself at the wire. His rider had not asked him for anything and then just asked him to gallop out. And gallop out he does. I love the way that you guys talk about the post position, as if the ride in the Derby is so simple. He's just like going to break and then be the next Mystic Dan. But to your credit, though, it is a great point. The inside post for him, and with his running style, you know, he could sit a really ground-saving trip.
Yeah, that could be the key. All right, we've also got Grande, the lone Todd Pletcher trainee, who's lightly raced, but definitely moved forward in terms of looking at the thoroughgraph for his effort running second to Rodriguez last out. He's slotted himself in different spots. You know, we've seen him very forward in his first two, and he came from off of it but lost ground last out. He worked yesterday, and you know, this is his first time we've seen him on the track. Tony, what do you think? We saw him moving yesterday on the outside of company.
You know, it wasn't the greatest drill, but you know, he did what he was supposed to do. He's a very inexperienced racehorse, and I have my doubts sometimes with inexperienced racehorses. I look back at Curlin, and the mighty Curlin couldn't even win the Kentucky Derby with little experience in the morning. If the fourth start of his career was in the Kentucky Derby. Just a Touch, who I think has a big chance to be one of the top older horses in the country in 2025, couldn't win the Kentucky Derby in start 4. I liked his Wood Memorial. I think he's a player later on in the summer. Travers is when I'll be watching for him.
Yeah, Grande lightly raced, less on experience, but Todd Pletcher, his trainer, has been here many, many times. Let's hear what he had to say about Grande's move yesterday.
We love the way he's trained since the Wood. You're right, he was very wide, especially on the first turn, and you know, I think that was a difference in the race. Rodriguez got, you know, a great trip, loose on the lead on the rail the whole way, while we were 5-6 wide on the first turn, 3 or 4 wide on the second turn. But what I liked is, despite that, he kept closing well, and he's come back. He's took the race in good order, and he's trained well since. I think distance is his friend. So again, he's going to have to, you know, work out a good trip and you know, hopefully get into a good position while seeing how fast the pace is. Not be too close if it's real fast, and not too far back if they go a little slower than we expect. That's what we're hoping. You know, the inexperience doesn't hurt him, but you know, that's kind of becoming more of the trend lately with horses racing less and less leading into the Derby.
All right, Grande might be a wise guy horse, definitely going to offer some value in that Kentucky Derby. All right, I needed this last night, Tony. Twin Spires, they saved my opening night here at Churchill Downs. The money back offer, up to $10 back on your first win bet in the race. Is going to be happening all throughout the Kentucky Derby week. So opt in for this, take advantage, and have them save you like they saved me at the windows yesterday. All right, when we come back, we'll take a look at a few of the fillies' works from yesterday. We'll dive into that Kentucky Oaks field and get a sense for how they're moving in that final preparation ahead of that first Friday in May in that run for the Lilies for the Kentucky Oaks. Ballerina de Oro, that gray, looking good, moving well. Chad Brown maybe has upsetter's potential in the Oaks.
Place your bets with Twin Spires Handicapping Insights, our expert picks, or just by choosing a name that catches your eye. No matter how you pick your horse, bet with Twin Spires. Get your money back if your horse finishes second or third in eligible races.
Like the Kentucky Derby, Woodford Reserve Bourbon is a spectacle for the senses.
All right, Kevin Kilroy, Tony Kalo with you on the desk, Rosie Napravnik on the 4th floor, and Megan Burgess on the backside. It's morning workout show presented by Twin Spires here at Churchill Downs. The track is not muddy.
Ah, we're not muddy.
It's not 62 degrees.
Come on,
April
man.
Fool's Day coming late in the month. We are fast, and it's around 48 degrees.
48 degrees.
Yeah, 48 degrees, and you're keeping it cold in here with the fan too. I've got to put my coat on, Tony.
Come on.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
You gonna blame it on me?
I'm gonna blame it on the white whale. You know we got a new nickname for you. It's Citizen Bull, my friends.
I like that one a lot better.
Citizen Bull. All right, we're with you on the set, and we've got some good stuff happening on YouTube. Jose Ortiz is a guy that we saw move his tack to Kentucky, make himself known in that spring meet, tying with Tyler Gaffalione to get the lead. He's won the Eclipse Award. He went down to Fairgrounds. He won the title there in a big way. And guess who was following him throughout? The Road to the Kentucky Derby crew. We've got a great series up there, watching that jockey, trying to look for that Kentucky Derby mount, trying to get it right. He didn't get it till the end. This is going to be a good one. I can't wait to dive in. We've got a tease here to get you ready. You can find this up on YouTube. Each day we'll be dropping a new episode.
Jockey Jose Ortiz, 3,100 career win.
Check 1, 2, check.
6 Breeders' Cup victories, a Preakness, a Belmont, but no Kentucky Derby as of yet.
I haven't ride the horse before.
With the number 3, Magnitude here.
He acts like he's got a ton of talent, but you kind of got to hold his hand.
You know, the success he has is because he gets the most out of a horse, but he's not going to get more than they are.
Magnitude chased Built throughout, and Built just steamed away from him, the good runner.
Yeah, 3-8 boy went after him. He took off.
What's the next stop for you?
I don't know yet, so hopefully here, till it comes.
All right, we've got, it's a new series. This is really exciting. Journey to the Derby. Jose Ortiz is the feature in there. You can find it up there. 1 episode dropping each day. Episode 3 is up today. All right, we've got Oaks fillies to talk about. They drew it yesterday, Tony, and quiet side. We heard John Ortiz's thought about drawing to the outside. The draw is a big part of it. You want to figure out where you're at. You want to get that sort of settled, but we hear it often. It's not where you draw, it's how you break.
Yeah, most definitely. The starting gate is very, very important for the first Friday in May, and even more important for the first Saturday in May with the 2 big races. You know, I think everybody probably drew appropriately. I don't think many of the horses are hindered with the post. You know, maybe quiet side, she's going to have to work a little bit, but I actually like her getting that outside trip.
What do you think in the middle here with the 7, 8, 9? LaCara, 5G, Tenma have all showed some forward runs. Do you think they knock heads in a way that is a detriment to any of those fillies?
Well, I don't think Tenma's going to try to go with them. We know LaCara is going to be gunned and really try to go 5G outside of her. You have Simply Joking along the inside. Anna's Promise probably shows some pace. It's going to be a little furious, so a good cheer. Obviously, it's a good post for her as well.
Yeah, speaking of Anna's Promise, this is a win with Romans. I know you were interested in this one, win in Kentucky, claimed away from Romans, now with Carlos David, moving on the track yesterday. What did you think about this 5 furlong drill?
Yep, rock solid, huh? Doing nothing wrong. Very, very comfortable move for her.
Yeah, comfortable move from her. We also saw Tenma. But first, we actually got to catch up with Carlos David after this work, and let's hear his thoughts about this move.
Previous workout was a Keeneland, going a half with Junior on board, and it was more like a maintenance. I always do 2 works back maintenance, and then I kind of give him the final workout and kind of push a little bit. So I saved this workout for Churchill. You know, I shipped it a couple days ago, let her gallop yesterday, let her fill out the track, and it was a little sloppy, but she didn't seem to mind it. And today, again, last night was rain. I was flying from Florida, and I was a little worried about the weather, but the track took the water pretty good, and the track was perfect, and she seemed to like it. So she had a nice workout, and Junior was really happy. They'll show us, especially 3-year-olds, whether it's boys or girls, I think that it depends on how, when they peak. If they peak in their last race or they're going to pick in this coming race. I mean, I feel like she gave us a good effort in Gulfstream Oaks under Louis' size, and I know he wasn't going to be available, but Junior's a great rider. He won on her before, so it just kind of works out, he's coming off of a little injury, but he's been riding and he's been winning, so I'm excited. I think she's gonna perform good.
Second last out in that Gulfstream Park Oaks to 5G. Excited to see if she holds form. Tenma won the Santa Anita Derby for Bob Baffert. She moved on the track yesterday. Meg, you were with us watching the works yesterday. Did you see what you liked from Tenma? We saw her slow down a little bit, even though she got the win last time. Do you think she's going to step back to her best form? What'd you see?
Yeah, this has been an interesting filly for me, guys. She's a daughter of Nyquist out of a Tappet mare. She's got a fantastic pedigree. She's actually bred by Bobby Flay. But she's one that just, we've remarked, she has not run very fast races on the West Coast. And in my opinion, I just don't think she's beat a ton of, as far as the caliber of the races and the field sizes she's been in. It's also something that concerns me about this filly. I think she looks fantastic. Bob knows how to dial his horses in for these kinds of races. But this move was solid. You know, I think it was everything she needed to do. A nice little half mile, 48-2. I think she looked good doing it. But I think, in my opinion, you're really going to have to step up and get a lot faster if you're going, guys, to contend with the likes of Quiet Side and Good Cheer.
Yeah, Quiet Side, Good Cheer, two of the major players in there. Tenma, I think, definitely poses a shot if she can get back to her best form. Chad Brown's got a filly in the Oaks. Then this nice, beautiful gray Ballerina de Oro. Went 4 furlongs and 48 flat yesterday. Going solo in this move. You can see the rider sort of crouched and getting this one involved early. Rosie, this gray, had to work hard to get it done last out up in New York. Do you think that she has a shot against these fillies? Is she showing you that she's game?
She's definitely going to have something to prove, I think, against this group of fillies. I think it's a really competitive Kentucky Oaks this year, but this is a really nice move for her. You can tell, you know, even for a horse that comes off the pace like she does, she was very into her work early on. The rider is keeping her quite a ways off the rail, which means she's covering more distance on the clock for that 48 for the half a mile. She's losing a little bit of ground for that time, but also the rider has still not even dropped her head after the wire here in the gallop out. So a really nice move from this filly, but I do think that she'll have a lot to prove in this Kentucky Oaks field this year. Yeah, she could be stepping up just in time. Let's hear what Chad Brown had to say about this work yesterday.
She worked great. I was just looking for her to be straight and focused through the lane. You know, her last race she was lugging in and reluctant to change leads. I'm not really sure where that came from because she's been a pretty straightforward horse. But today, I mean, she just switched leads beautifully off the turn and galloped out with good energy, and I loved what I saw. It was nice to get a nice, mile and eighth race under her belt on a demanding track like Aqueduct. She's a horse with a lot of endurance. We've always wanted to get her out to this distance, so it's good to have her now at a mile and eighth again. I think with more pace in the race and just a fuller field, there's just more going on for her to focus on, get her back further in the race. In her last race, too, much might have thrown her off a little bit. She was close to a kind of a soft pace, and it's not really her preferred way to run. So with a lot of speed signed on here, I'm hoping she gets the trip she's looking for. She's doing everything you want to see with an early 3-year-old. She's just continued to fill out and get stronger. Very straightforward horse. I was surprised she did that in her last race. She's got a lot of class, good sense about her, and just a horse I just see every month, just getting a little stronger. Case in point, she's working solo now. It's a horse we always had in company in the past, and her last 2 or 3 works, we've just, she's had at least 2 of the last 3 works have been solo and very professional. So I love to see that.
All right, Grand Motion's got a runner that maybe has the most sort of upside, most question marks about her. Just 2 races for Fondley, but wow, did she step up in a big way in her first time going 1 mile and 1/16th, winning the Virginia Oaks. I thought she was very game to sit that trip and to keep on coming late. Do you think she's got the upside, Tony, to be able to get it done against these, and possibly is the long shot that we want to be looking for?
You know, that's a tough question, Kev. Very inexperienced, never been around 2 turns, draws inside. She has speed to her inside, she has speed to her outside. Boy, it's a lot to ask of a very, very inexperienced filly in the biggest race of her career to date. Yeah, first time going a full 2 turns. It was just a 1 turn there for that 1 mile 1/16th at the Virginia Oaks at Colonial Downs. So I'm excited to see her. I think she's shown talent. I think she's got something to show us, and I think she could be interested in here. She can maybe put herself in different positions. So tactically, I think she's intriguing. You know, this work here a little bit slow, not showing me exactly what I want to see to get way behind her in terms of the mornings. But I'm gonna have to do a little more work and see how she's been moving ahead of this one.
All right, finally coming out for Grand Motion. We'll see how she goes in the Kentucky Oaks. Tony, we've been waiting for it. The time of the morning, the sun is cracking through the sky, and that highlighter yellow is about to show us in terms of the Derby horses, that Barbie pink. What do you think? I'm calling it Barbie pink for what the fillies are wearing, their saddle cloths for their designated period here, and they're lining up, getting ready to hit the track and put in their final drills here for a few of the Derby horses in here, and you can see Cole Battle waiting patiently for Lonnie Briley as he gets ready to hit the track here on Sunday for the Morning Work Show.
As they head to the back stretch, it's a tight pack.
He's going to pull ahead. The Twin Spires expert picks were all optimistic.
You've got the best speed rating in the field. Don't fail me now.
Man, I love this horse's name.
And from far behind, here comes Frank. It's neck and neck. Frank is winning. Frank wins.
No matter how you pick your horse, bet with Twin Spires, the official betting partner of the Kentucky Derby. Get your money back if your horse finishes second or third in eligible races.
The designated workout time for the Kentucky Derby horses and the Kentucky Oaks fillies has come. They're lining up at the gaps, getting ready to hit the track. And it's a big morning here at Churchill Downs in terms of this Sunday before that first weekend in May, where we're going to see final drills from the likes of Journalism, Rodriguez, Sovereignty, Publisher, Tistastic, possibly Cole Battle, and definitely East Avenue. So as we get ready to see them out here, I gotta ask, Meg Burgess, how are they looking out there? Are they looking like they're well-behaved gentlemen and ladies as they get ready to hit the track?
Those horses that has just been really excited to get himself to the track, and Bethany Taylor's aboard again, his longtime companion, and he looks good. He's very composed and full of himself. I'm actually getting the first look I've gotten of Chunk of Gold with Ethan West aboard. He looks very composed as well. I'm very excited to see him take to the track for the very first time. And guys, of course, our fan favorite Sandman will also be on track, and he's just looking as the picture he already is.
Yeah, thanks, Meg. What do you think? Sandman drawing post 17. Nobody has ever won from the 17 hole before. You could hear the groans from the crowd when that draw came through. Does that superstitiously knock him in your opinion, Tony?
Not really.
Yeah.
It's just a statistic, and eventually it will get broken, and perhaps it's this year.
Yeah, perhaps this is the year. Tizalaw has also another short price horse who drew it and did run second a few years back. So as we take a look here at Cole Battle with the red wraps and the red reins there, getting ready possibly to put a drill in. You know, we heard that maybe he was going to get a little bit blowout ahead of the Derby. This could be the one. Rodriguez draws number 4. I think it's a great draw for him, except for all the speed that surrounds him. He's going to go 5 furlongs today here, so we're going to get to see his move here at Churchill Downs. His way he's been working after the Wood Memorial win and out of Santa Anita has been phenomenal.
He's coming into the race in perfect fashion. He looked great winning the Wood Memorial. He looks great on the racetrack, as Bob's horses just always look great. They're just always chiseled and muscled out, and he fits that bill for sure. He's a good looker.
Yeah, Rosie, you're seeing Rodriguez here. Have you seen enough from him to get a sense for his personality, his demeanor, how his energy is?
Yes, I've been actually, he's been catching my eye each morning that I've been out here. He is a professional. He's calm, cool, and collected. He has a really smooth stride galloping. So this is one of the breezes that I have been looking forward to seeing the most. You know, his post position draw isn't going to be the easiest, but it's also not the worst. And when it comes to, you know, having the 2 Bob Baffert horses pretty close to each other in the gate, Citizen Bull coming out of number 1, and them both having speed, it's it's going to be every man for himself in the first eighth of a mile between these two. I think, you know, you cannot have any hesitation to sacrifice a position. But really interested to see how this horse breezes this morning.
Yeah, Rosie, have you ever drawn that rail spot in a big race and with a big field, or even in the Kentucky Derby?
Yes, I have ridden out of post position 1 in the Kentucky Derby on a little tiny horse called Vickers in Trouble. And it is it's a mad dash. You have to get a good break from the one hole, and you have to just run forward for the first eighth of a mile. We actually got bounced around, and my horse was so small in size, but these are two big, solid horses. Rodriguez is galloping off to the pole now, and like I said, like he's kind to his rider, which I think is important in the Derby, to be able to maneuver and adjust to however the pace scenario does set up. And I'm not sure, we're not sure what the word is about Citizens Bowl with the blinkers either still.
I think we were hearing last night, Bob was up here at the set and saying that blinkers would be on, so that was the
blinkers
last
are
word.
On, yeah,
and, we've heard back and forth, so that could change, but that's what we were hearing last night.
So you kind of know what, obviously, what they're thinking there, but we're getting pretty close to the 5/8 pole here with Rodriguez. He's going to be the first one on the rail.
Rosie, I thought that was a good point you brought up about the size of Citizen Bull. If there is a horse probably who can handle the rail positioning.
Yeah, he's a bull.
He's a bull. He's a beast. He's physically big enough that he might not be affected like a little horse would.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
right.
I'm liking the ears. He's listening back to his rider. He's ready to get into his run. What are you seeing as he sets it down into that far turn, Rosie?
Well, they're definitely breaking off from the half a mile pole instead of the 5/8 pole, most likely by design, just to get this horse to run after the wire. But not super aggressive going to the pole. He's kind of just, like you said, his ears are twitching back and forth. There's some people here on the front side this morning, so you'd have to say things are getting his attention. You can see his ears kind of just flicking between what he's seeing ahead of him and what his rider is cueing him to do. Rider sitting chilly. Not really asking too much. He's working really well his stride. I just love how smooth this horse has looked out here galloping. And I would say the same thing for this breeze here this morning. He's got his ears pricked now coming to the wire. You always love to see that. And we'll see now if he asks him for a little bit more after the wire. Maybe just a touch, but a nice, easy maintenance work for this horse. He's galloping out all on his own.
Yeah, we saw that big move from him out of Santa Anita. It did seem like were probably going to go light on him, but you got to love to see how his ears were going. This isn't a ton for him, right? He's going easy. We'll see what the time is, but he's taking it all in. He's relaxed. He's doing great.
Rattling off some pretty good splits early on, 12 seconds, 24, 35, and 3 from our clocker, KK, coming in at a minute flat.
Yeah, he did that easy. All right, here is King Kong himself. Always just a breathtaking view as we see the 3-1 morning line favorite, the Kentucky Derby, put in his first local work. Meg, what'd you see from him getting going early in this move?
This horse, I think, is getting harder and harder and harder to poke holes in. I mean, he looks absolutely fantastic. I had mentioned that the conservative approach was taken. Aaron Wellman had actually mentioned that, as far as it didn't really make a difference if they breezed this horse yesterday or yesterday. So I think that they're doing he's doing exactly what he needs to do. He is sitting on a huge run, guys. And I do think as far as his post position is concerned, Mike McCarthy had noted that he was so confident in this horse, he didn't really matter what post position he drew. So the 8-hole certainly is going to be a perfect spot for this colt, and he's just doing everything in stride. And like I said, this horse is fit. He's ready to go. I don't foresee them wanting to do too much with him, kind of save his energy as we approach Saturday. But guys, he's 3-1 for a reason, and I think that it's going to be very hard to dismiss a case for this horse to win the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, Rosie, the rider starting up high. You can see down the stretch, he really got into it a little bit more, and also kind of nudging a little bit there in the gallop out. What do you think? Could we get overexcited about a horse in terms of how he looks physically, or should we back this sort of opinion that we're seeing from him at the windows?
Yeah, like Megan said, this horse has never given us anything to knock him on. He's a real professional. I mean, that breeze seemed like quite an even breeze. A really nice gallop out, though. He's half halfway down the backside again and still well within himself. So, I mean, nothing not to like about this. I'm interested to see what the time was because he looked like he was going rather easy. And, of course, that could be by design as well with Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, it looks like he had the same energy as at the end as he did at the beginning, right? Just still moving so well.
Good horses cover ground effortlessly, and we saw that in those last two moves. They just look like they're just gliding, not even really at full speed.
Yeah, and I think the draw was great for him as you see he gets to the track kitchen there. All right, we've got another one beginning. We can see it's Sovereignty. We got the company there in terms of the Mott saddled, and he's going to make his big move. He went with company in his work last week. He ran down a good one. He's positioned to the outside. Tony, why don't you talk us through Sovereignty? I know you've got some interest in this one financially.
Yeah, I do. I like this horse a lot, and I like the fact that he's really into the move early. You know, a deep closer that's going to do his best running in the final furlong. They're making him stay close to the workmate, and he's obviously superior to the mate. Look at the size and discrepancy between the two, and he's just going away within himself. Jock isn't even moving his hands. Another horse that covers a lot of ground, a nice big stride, and looking for him to really finish up this work in fine style.
Yeah, you know, you can see also with his ears, he's not doing too much. When they're pinned back, they're going real hard, and they're just all focused on trying to get that run and trying to perform for their rider. But he seems like he's got great energy coming out through here.
And we're 6 days out, so we're not going to be seeing a lot of like gung-ho, take it from the start to the finish with just a lot of intensity. These are going to be nice maintenance moves. These horses are just getting their legs stretched, take the edge off 6 days out before the biggest race of their careers.
Yeah, you know, seeing him on the track yesterday, no sweats, right? I didn't see any of the signs of anxiety that we were seeing from him. Meg, did you see anything different from Sovereignty in terms of, are you seeing anxiety, or seeing some of the nerves, are you seeing any signs that he maybe is maybe a little mentally still trying to piece it all together?
No, I don't. Actually, I know a lot of people have been this has been a topic of conversation about this horse, and I'm kind of perplexed as to why. I've followed this horse. I've been such a fan of this horse since his effort here at Churchill Downs, breaking his maiden at 2. This is him. You know, some of those lathering that we kind of see. We also got to speak with Junior Alvarado, and he mentioned that as well. It's just him, and it's a chilly morning. You don't see him getting too worked up today. This colt, Bill Mott has mentioned that he's just one of his best chances, and we see Colt Battle here as well, and he is scheduled to get that 3/8 blowout for Lonnie Briley is kind of what we confirmed with them. We'll see if he does it today, but he's sitting on go. He looks like a box of Gelignite. He is ready to go, guys. And what are your thoughts on him as well? I'm very interested, Kevin, especially you. Where do you kind of gauge this horse?
You know, I love this horse. He's proven himself in all sorts of different spots tactically. He just is able to figure out the race as it unfolds in front of him, and takes to the bit if he needs to early. Maybe he was just caught up into that pace a little bit too much in the Arkansas Derby, maybe not fully cranked. I think he draws nicely to be able to get a relaxed trip. I think he needs to relax early to be able to get this distance. But I'm loving his energy. He's been showing himself like this each morning, just sort of has that neck bowed, has that presence. He wants you to know that he's here, and he's got a sharp mind. He's coming from a sharp barn. So Colt Battle is quite interesting to me. What about you, Rosie? Did you think this is the little engine that could in this Kentucky Derby?
Yeah, I know a lot of people are quite fond of this horse, and he's definitely all business out here on the track. And of course, with Bethany Taylor aboard, she and I have ridden some races together back in the day. What a nice rider she is, and you can see that they have such a good relationship. But I mean, he wants to be kind of strong in his gallops. He's got his head down, really focused on his job. And has really looked great out here. Like, his physique looks good, and his attitude looks great.
Yeah, it does. He is focused. He's loving his job. I love it when we talk about these horses in that way, watching them, loving what they're doing, finding their run, feeling their strength. And Colt Battle seems to definitely be feeling himself, as they say. What do you think, Kalo?
Yeah, definitely. I like the post draw for him as well. He can work out a nice trip. The thing I like about this horse is he seems to have a nice sudden burst, a good turn of foot, a quick acceleration, which could help him through the far turn run. It might be able to help him avoid some traffic. I think the distance is a big question mark. I think he could be in contention to the 8th pole, and then that could be tough. Like any final furlong for 3-year-olds in the first Saturday in May. But I liked his Arkansas Derby. In fact, I came out of that race with a lot more respect for him than I had going into it. I wasn't sold on him, and I thought that race, the jock moved a tad too soon. It's never easy to sustain that move into the heart of a very, very fast pace. And he ran well, and I think he'll get a lot out of it, and he has looked great here in Kentucky. I'd love to see him win. It'd be great for the connections. I've brought it up, Art Sherman, a long old-time trainer from Northern California that I knew, what a thrill it was for him when he won with California Chrome. These grizzled veterans that have put their whole life into this game, the game that we love. It's such a great story. He'll be able to share this forever. He'll never forget it. And if he could ever win it, oh my goodness, it would just cap off a life that, we love horse racing. I mean, I'm tickled to pink just to be here, part of the team at Churchill Downs. I can't imagine what it's like as an owner or trainer to have a horse running in the Kentucky Derby.
A horse running in the Kentucky Derby, and a horse that brings his track with him. He's won at Evangeline Downs, won at Delta Downs, right? Won at Remington Park, won at Oaklawn Park. Had a tough trip at Kentucky Downs. Lonnie brought him up to Kentucky Downs to get it done there. I think he would have won if he would have got a clean early start to that race. So can he handle the track at Churchill Downs? I don't think that's a question at all.
No, he's been showing that he loves it here. And as you mentioned, it doesn't faze him. It doesn't faze him where he's at. He's going to be him. And the cool thing about him is he's full of himself, a strong, a big, high self-esteem. He doesn't know he's a littler guy. He doesn't know where he comes from. Some of these blue bloods, some of these monsters, these beasts that he's going to face, it's not going to faze him.
Rosie, in terms of what we're seeing him do in this gallop today, he just seems to keep on picking it up, offering more energy. Do you think Bethany's going to try to slow him down here ever?
Yeah, as I was watching them come around their final turn in their gallop this morning, I was thinking to myself, this Oaks horse creeping up behind him is really going to get him back into the gallop as Bethany's trying to pull him up. But she's got him pulled up now. Just a nice, solid, steady gallop for this horse. Leading up to the Derby.
And he stops there and takes a look at Barbara Livingston. As we know, Barbara's usually set up shop right over there, taking the photos of these beautiful animals. And he turns back to head back to the barn. All right, so Tistastic made a move, one of two in here for Steve Asmussen. He's going solo. We've been seeing him work with Publisher, and he's going to make a solo move as he starts off here and gets things rolling. The times 12-2, 24-3, 50-1. Nothing too quick, especially to compare to some of the times. But this is often what we see in terms of maintenance from Steve Asmussen's barn. Did you get a chance to see Tistastic go by you, Meg? Did you see this move at all?
I didn't get a chance to see him go past me, but I am a fan of this horse, and Steve has commented that this is a tough, hardy animal, and he was actually campaigned at Kentucky Downs with those turf credentials and now moves to the dirt, but he ran 8 days within himself between his maiden and his stakes win. He is extremely durable, and he's a horse that I think a lot of people are kind of maybe an underlay type horse, an oversight type horse, but I do kind of like him being able to get out here solo. I know a lot of people had their opinions on when they were working together, but I've mentioned this before about this colt. This is a very distance-oriented son of Tiz the Law. He is going to be better as the distances get longer, and I think that's going to be his primary strength coming into this race, hopefully sitting a tactical trip. But guys, I'm a fan of this horse. I know some might prefer Publisher, but I keep an eye on him. I think they just wanted to keep him moving. They just wanted to get a maintenance work in before the big day, and I think that's exactly what he achieved here.
Yeah, Rosie, we see the times, that seem slow, but tell the story about where this horse is positioned and how he was handled by his rider.
Well, I mean, the thing about the time too is most of Steve's riders and when he has jockeys breezing horses also before a big race, like he's looking for that 50 half. So this is probably exactly what they were looking for. Just a nice, easy maintenance move for the horse. They had him well off the rail to probably, try to keep him in an easier pace, and that's, a lot. No one's looking to really test the ability 6 days out from the Derby.
Yeah, I love to see his little kick and his energy at the end there. I was seeing that from Rich Strike a couple years ago. You might remember that guy showing himself, doing it professionally and then offering a little bit of flair at the end. So East Avenue moving with JoJo Go, a strong runner, a stablemate. You can see he's starting from the outside. Ooh, I like this stride from the get-go. Breaking off, sharp time there, 59-2. Kalo, you said he draws perfectly. You want to see him set up shop just like he had in the Risen Star, stalking to the outside. This is the spot he's in. Can he get by his foe?
I think he'll definitely get by his foe without knowing. But this is the trip. This is the way they were working him leading up to the Risen Star, and he got that perfect trip in the Risen Star. And, hey, it was 1 1/8, and it was his first start since the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and the connections have been on record saying that he's a different horse in Kentucky. Boy, he has grown up physically. He is huge. I mean, the power in this guy, his chest and his neck. And this is a perfect draw yesterday for him. This is the trip he needs to get. Stalking, coming with a run, sustaining it to the wire, and trying to fend off the boys that are going to be trying to come and tag him in the concluding stages.
All right, Rosie, it's not only what the worker that we're watching is doing, but also the company. They're asking that company on the inside.
Yeah, they were clearly, had a horse that was going to be able to keep up for the most part, so that he would have some company all the way to the wire. But East Avenue is clearly the best in this work and such a sharp work. But look at the gallop out here. I mean, the rider is not really, asking for anything. He's all the way onto the backside now, and a really solid work with a great gallop out, I think, is the most notable part of this breeze.
Yeah, and his ears are still showing that he's waiting to hear the instructions. What are we doing next, boss? What are we doing next?
12-1 on the gallop out, Kev.
12-1. That's what we want to see. So he gets by that sprinter, JoJo Go. Does it pretty well. They were asking JoJo Go on the inside. And is Manny up? I thought I was hearing Manny was going to be in town. Is that Manny? I don't watch the New York workers to get a sense for him up. All right, we also have, as East Avenue wraps it up, Baeza coming to the track here, offering a little chatter, not only to himself, but all the horse players out there just wondering, waiting. He's run the fast figures. He's just got that one maiden win, ran second to Journalism last out. Every reason to improve. Sheriff always says distance for him. Baeza, are you going to use him in your tickets if he draws in, Tony?
Well, obviously, if he draws in, I think he has to be used. I know you like to use the sheets. Are you concerned about the big number and a possible regression?
Yeah, I am concerned with that. I liked his last move I saw from him in terms of working with a distance horse and offering run late. It wasn't the sharpest effort, but yeah, when you see these lightly raced horses making their moves forward, you're like, yes, they're unlocking themselves with each race, is what you want to see. But then there's always that potential for regression. So the price has got to be right, in other words, right?
Yeah.
If you're getting a short price on him, then you're maybe a little bit concerned. But I liked his energy coming off the track there. I think he's feeling good here in Kentucky.
Yeah, he's a cool story. I mean, we don't root for anyone to not run in the race, but he's one that we kind of want to see draw in. If you're good enough to be the runner-up in the Santa Anita Derby to the favorite, and I think we all can agree Journalism will go off as favored in the Kentucky Derby, it'd be a shame if Baeza's not in the mix.
We got Luxor Cafe coming in here, probably the best shot in terms of the Japanese runners, along with Admire Daytona. I've loved his efforts. I love his rider. I love Moira in terms of what he gets out of this one. Really gets him in a rhythm late. Seems like we want to always be positioned outside is what we've seen from Luxor Cafe. Doesn't take that kickback all that well as maybe the narrative that we're hearing. But I think he's got a very good effort. I think he's under the radar right now.
Now, that's interesting you bring that up, that he wants to be outside and he doesn't take the kickback well, so maybe his post isn't the greatest for him from post position 7. I did like his recent win. I'm not going to come on air and try to claim I know a lot about Japanese racing. I don't know anything about the company lines he was keeping other than Admire Daytona. I can just go by what my eye told me. Was the nice sudden burst, the good acceleration, the turn a foot off the lane and running it, sustaining it to the wire.
So in terms of, traveling overseas, I mean, here's a horse that hasn't done too much traveling, done his wins out in Japan. But Rosie, what are we seeing in terms of how he's moving on the track? He's schooling in the paddock. In terms of his class, are you liking what you see? Is he learning his lessons?
Yeah, you can see he's a little anxious in the paddock here, but I mean, when you're in this atmosphere, asking the horse to stand still while you're aboard is kind of a challenging thing to do. So you can see they have the pony horse there in front of him, just sort of asking him to take it all in. He did move a little bit more aggressively in his gallop this morning. The Japanese tend to train their horses pretty slow, I would say, in comparison to some of these American trainers. But you can see now he's like settling, and the licking and chewing is sort of a sign of releasing the tension that he's feeling. Excuse me. So, handling the atmosphere, I think, rather well, has been really professional out here in the mornings, sort of training lightly.
Yeah, I like that licking and chewing, really helping him get through it all, all those little things. Thank you, Rosie. He does seem to have settled nicely as he's getting used to that beautiful, relatively new paddock. We're just a year in. We can still call it a new paddock there as he gets used to the environment here. And this is so key, right? You're gonna learn through going and experiencing. Horses get spooked, things that are new to them give them extra concern. Flight or fight, they tend to run, right? That's how they've survived all these years. So he's getting used to what this is, and it's going to be a little bit different come Kentucky Derby Day, Tony.
Yeah, it will be. I mean, the crowd will be huge, and it'll be like a crowd that they probably will never ever see again in their lives. It's awesome. I really like it when horsemen do this. The schooling at the gate, the schooling in the paddock. And how about us last night as a team here at Churchill Downs, schooling with the starting gate for the Kentucky Derby as well, with the 1.25 mile affair.
Yeah. In terms of the field, we talked about maybe this draw is not great for him if he doesn't want the kickback, but I don't know. He's got some closers to his outside. Yeah, we're looking at the Derby field, and we are trying to see his post position here. Luxor Cafe 15-1. I think Journalism and him kind of want to be in that same tracking position. He's got closers to his outside. He could maybe just let them slot in behind, let Journalism do his thing, and just sort of set up a path in the sixth path and let it unfold to his inside.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it all depends on the break and the most important part of the race. If you don't break well, then your chances are slim and none. So we can only speculate on what we think's going to happen.
Yeah, and we have put the connections in that spot right after the draw. We asked them for their thoughts, their instant reactions, and we've got some interviews from yesterday. Let's listen back to the thoughts of a few of these on their Derby post position draw.
Well, I mean, they're both speed horses. Rodriguez, I would have liked to have seen him, been outside a little bit. But the Derby's always speed. They have to break well, Caitlin. And if they don't break, it doesn't matter what hole you're in. The only thing is when you're inside, like if they were to come off the pace, I would not like the one hole. But they're speed horses, and the jockeys, they know their horses. They're going to have to play the break, and they're going to just let them roll, and you can't worry about things like that.
Yeah, you can't be disappointed with 9. 9's right in the middle. It gives us a lot of options. We have to save ground somewhere. The first thing, you can't go wide both turns.
Well, it's up to Julian. The good thing about this horse is that he doesn't have to ride me, or I don't get to ride him, so that's a good thing. But we leave it up to Julian. He's going to be a come-from-behind runner. I see him laying back and then making one big run. But it's real good to get into the race. There was a couple of decisions about whether he was going to get in the body. I initially recommended that we ought to run an allowance race, but when he looked like he was going to draw in or get in the body of the race, the ownership said we'd really like to run, and here we are.
Well, I was hoping that I could be between 8 and a 12, and where you wouldn't have to work so much to get on over, but it is what it is, and I think they have a little more speed in the inside, which would be good, and because he breaks good, and you place him where you want him, because he's pretty sharp out the gates. So we'll see, what happens, but I think he'll be okay.
It's just ideal for both of them, obviously. Gives them a chance. I love the speed to the inside and the far outside. I think it's quite obvious that both of my horses are deep closers. The faster they go earlier, the better chance we have.
Yeah, we've got those closers, Tistastic and Publisher, coming out of Steve Asmussen's barn, and they'll try to slot over and save some ground. It's all about saving ground, but not getting buried. I'm a little bit worried about Final Gambit maybe getting buried as those closers trying to surround them and flank them to the outsides, but you're not concerned about that runner.
No, I'm not at all. He likes to come. Sovereignty, 1 minute, 101 and 4/5, galloping out 3/4 and 115. Journalism, 101 and 2/5, galloping out 13 and 3, 26 and 4 for 7 furlongs, 141 and 1/5 going a mile. We didn't get to see Publishers move 49 seconds, no gallop out. East Avenue, as we mentioned, 59 and change, galloping out in 12 and 1 and Tistastic, 50 and 1/5. Rodriguez, 1 minute, 112 and 3, and 127 on the gallop out. KK doing the job that he always does.
Yeah, cheers to KK. He's the man. Cheers to Twin Spires. They give us all sorts of offers. You want to get involved with these. When you get in each week and you get ready to fire away, first get up to the offers tab and check out what's there for you. We've got one, Tony. Talk them through this promotion from Twin Spires.
Great promotion. You took full advantage last night. I pick a lot of horses who finish second, so it's perfect for my handicapping style. You know, your first $10 win bet, if they don't succeed and they run second or third, guess what? You're going to get that $10 back.
You're going to get it back up to $10. So take advantage of that. Also get involved in a little bit a leveled up deal if you want to get past that $10 win bet and get into the live money tournament. The $5,000 Kentucky Derby betting challenge is offering $250,000. You got a couple more chances to get a feeder, to win a feeder, to get a shot in there. What do you think? May 1st, May 2nd, May 3rd. Are you going to take a swing? Is Jen going to take a swing?
Jen is not going to take a swing.
Yeah, neither is Alyssa.
Love these tournaments. You know that, Kevin. We talk about them all the time. What a rush it is to see your name climbing up the leaderboard in these handicapping tournaments. And Twin Spires has been doing a great job. They've got all sorts of feeders that are economical for everybody's bankroll.
Yeah, what a rush to be here at the track at Churchill Downs watching these workouts. It's such a privilege, such an honor. And to have them sort of come across your eyes and get quick thoughts is always a challenging thing to do, but really fun to stay sharp like that. Final thoughts. I'm going to go around the horn. I'll begin with you, Rosie. What stood out to you? What did you learn today in terms of the works?
Super exciting morning. We saw so much. I would say I absolutely loved Rodriguez's work. I love the way that this horse is nice, relaxed out here, super professional, super kind to his rider, and just receptive to what he's being asked of. I think that's a great aspect to have for a horse that's got some speed, draws on the inside. So I loved Rodriguez's work. Journalism. He's still not giving anybody any reason to doubt him. He did everything. We saw everything we wanted to see from journalism today out here. But the work that I think was special was Sovereignty. And even though they had a similar time, almost the same, and even the gallop out, to me, Sovereignty is the one that looked the best. I would call journalism's work very great, everything you want to see, but I would call Sovereignty special.
Love it.
We're going to throw it to Megan on the backside. And what did you think from the perspective on the backside, Megan?
Well, a horse that I've been a little weary on was East Avenue coming out of Louisiana. I was actually down at the fairgrounds on Risen Star Day and saw his effort there, and he looks like a completely different horse. Today I was extremely impressed with the moves he put in company. I really relished the design that Brendan put it as far as having him track his partner and being able to have a horse in front of him and run him down the way he did. He looks spectacular. Both of the Godolphin horses in both East Avenue and Sovereignty look spectacular. They've got two completely different running styles. Sovereignty, we know, will come off of it. I echo Rosie's sentiment. I think Sovereignty, as Bill Mott has put it, Bill Mott has seen a lot of nice horses, and he says this colt is his best chance in the Kentucky Derby, a horse that he knows will relish this distance and improve. He is a picture. He looks fantastic, but we all know journalism's coming into this race sitting on go, but at the same time, we really have to consider horses like Sovereignty, and I know me and Rosie are Team Rodriguez. We've both been extremely impressed by that horse, and I still remain on the Rodriguez train. I think that he's going to definitely have a tough trip trying to lead them gate to wire at a 1.25 mile test. But guys, this was a very insightful day, and I think that we learned a lot about these horses as we approach the big dance on Saturday.
Yeah, thank you, Meg. Kalo, what do you think? I mean, did anything catch your eye? Did anything move your wallet to the window?
No, nobody moved my wallet to the window. What I'm learning and what I'm seeing is that I get more confused each and every morning watching these horses work. Every horse is catching my eye. All of a sudden, wow, look at Burnham Square. Wow, look at the way Cole Battle's handling himself. Look at the size of journalism, Sovereignty, East Avenue. What I'm getting at is nobody is doing anything that would hinder me not to want to pick them. I've said journalism #1, Sovereignty #2 for a couple of months now. I'm going to still stay that way.
Yeah, I tell you what, I mean, I watch the works to get that sort of idea of who's got the talent and who's going to maybe offer value that they're not seeing in the PPs, right? We all know these horses have talent. We all know they deserve to be here and that they're going to be ready to roll. So watching the energy, I think this last week in the gallops is something I'm going to do, pay attention close to see if somebody's maybe showing us that sort of rich strike moment or that fierceness moment. He looked very zapped in that final week heading into the Kentucky Derby last week. So it's those type of things that maybe move you in terms of your final opinions, but I'm with you, Tony. When you're seeing good stuff, you're seeing the goods, you're seeing the goods. What else are you going to say?
They're all beautiful. I mean, they're physical specimens, and every morning I'm just like, wow, look at that. It's like a kid in a candy shop. That's dangerous for a 200.
Citizen Bowl. Don't put them in the candy shop. We got to protect the candies. So 4 more shows for you. We got another lineup of beautiful thoroughbreds coming out to the track tomorrow. We begin at 6:45 to 7:45 Eastern. Continues through Derby, May 1st. Thanks for joining us as we approach Kentucky Derby 151, Kentucky Oaks 151. We couldn't be more stoked. From Tony Kalo, Kevin Kilroy, Rosie Napravnik, Meg Burgess, we're sending you out.